In the beginning of the recap, a few people were taking a girl after holding her. Her name was Mora and she was a doctor. Mora wakes up and we learn that she had a dream. The surprising thing was that whatever she saw in her dream, bound, similarly in her real life, she had marks on her hands. Later, Mora sees a newspaper nearby with a report about a missing ship. He has been missing for 4 months while missing. To this day, nothing was known about the ship or the people on it. There, Mora finds a letter that belonged to her brother, saying that she will meet him in New York. Here we learn that Mora was going to her brother who was on the boat. When she left the room, everyone was talking about the missing ship. Some of them say that she was sunk, and others say that she disappeared somewhere. And several of them say that he was swallowed by an evil power. Mora also listened to everyone as she sat on the ship. During the conversation, a boy comes and says, "If there is a doctor, please come with me, my sister is quite sick." Meanwhile, several guards come and take the boy. Actually, this boy is from the other part of the ship where the poor people live. They were forbidden to come to this part where all the rich people live. Mora goes to the boy and tells him, "I'm a doctor." She cured his sister and saved her life. She was actually pregnant. Meanwhile, her younger sister comes to see Mora. Thanks to her, she saved her sister's life. "I also wanted to be a doctor when I grew up, just like you." On this ship, we see a couple who were fighting. In fact, the girl's husband was having seizures, and she doesn't want to live with her husband. When Mora was in the part of the ship where all the poor people were, it starts to choke and goes out. The captain of the ship tells her, "Don't you know it's quite forbidden to come here?" He says, "I don't know and who made this cheap rule, that we can't help the poor." Then 2 guards come and tell them they need to get this ship to the other side immediately. We see 2 brothers on the same boat. When they see the ship turning back, they become worried. They think the ship is coming back, and no one wants to come back. Later, Mora goes to see the captain who has been drinking. Mora asks if the ship is gone and he says no. Yes, we know something about the ship, and the same missing ship could be the Prometheus ship. That ship has been missing for 4 months and we don't know if the passengers are alive or dead. The captain asks, "Do you have any relatives on that ship, Moro?" She says no, and then the captain gathers all the passengers, and he tells them that I found out about the ship. She sent us a message for help. It could be that company's missing ship, the Prometheus, so we're going to help that ship. Hearing this, everyone gets angry, because they want to get to America on time. As Mora and the captain talk while standing on the roof, they see a ship far away, and think it might be the Prometheus ship. Everyone is afraid to see it. The captain sends word to the company that the Prometheus ship has been found. Later he talks to other people and says we have to go there. The second captain says, "No, there might be danger in us going there." Mora tells them, "I'm coming with you too. Maybe someone is sick and needs treatment and I am a doctor." They were all ready to go on that ship. Meanwhile, the man says the sea is calm and the breeze has stopped. There is something fishy there. He was afraid and refuses to go there. The captain takes someone else with him instead. They arrive at the ship and see after it. No one was found there and the ship's control room was broken. They start to get scared and think that if this is broken, then who sent the signals and sent us messages for help? Meanwhile, we see a man climbing onto a boat while swimming. There the captain and his mates reach the cupboard while chasing insects. Someone knocked loudly on it. Mora opens the locker and the child comes out. Everyone is shocked to see this. Everyone starts asking him, "How is your life? Where are the other people and who locked you in here?" He did not answer them and showed them an object like a pyramid. They all return to their ship after taking the baby back. Meanwhile, a man approaches the captain and says, "Is a message from the company. If you find the Prometheus ship, sink it." Later, when the captain goes to the control room, all the compasses there have stopped working. Everyone on the ship was quite concerned, wondering where all the passengers on the Prometheus had gone. How did the child survive on the ship for 4 months? Everyone was lost in these thoughts and wanted to get back from this ship. When Mora was in her room, she saw the same pyramid the kid had given her. He doesn't understand anything, and after watching it, he shuts up. He asks the child, "How did you live there? Please tell me where the other people are." The child does not answer her and gives her the pyramid. Mora goes outside and sees the same strange man we saw come to the ship. She asks who you are and he says, "I live in the next room." Mora says she's never seen him. The man says his name, Daniel, and leaves. The captain comes to Mora and asks, "Did the kid tell you about anything?" He says he hasn't said anything yet. Later we see the same man fighting with his wife. He was standing with a Japanese girl on a boat and talking to her. Meanwhile, her mom comes and takes her with her. Later, a girl comes to him and says, "I think you are not well. Can I help you? Shall we see the captain?" He sees his daughter on the ship and comes into the room while chasing after her. He sees his wife and daughters there, who are waiting for him. Suddenly there is a fire and the captain falls. They see the same insects they saw on the Prometheus ship. He sees a staircase that he climbs to reach his room. When he went to check again, there was nothing but walls on all sides. As Mora spoke to the child, she saw a mark on his neck. When she starts touching this mark, the child grabs her hands and tells her to be quiet and walks away. Meanwhile, the captain who is shouting at the boy comes there and asks who you are, where you come from and what happened to the ship. Mora brings the captain outside and asks him, what are you doing? The captain says something is wrong with the ship. I saw my daughter, who died, and when he heard it, Daniel also comes. The captain left there and then we see a man there, who came on board without a ticket and was chased by the guard. Now the guard captured him and the captain gathered all the passengers and tells them we have to take the Prometheus ship back to Europe. Since we don't have enough coal, we can take the ship Prometheus to America. Hearing this, everyone gets worried because no one wants to go back. While the captain was on the roof, Mora came, and she says to him, are you crazy for making such a decision? The captain says there must be something wrong. The company is hiding something and wants to sink the ship Prometheus. Later we see a girl who sees the same insect, and she reaches far while watching her. Daniel comes there and puts the insect in his pocket. Why did he do it? And we will learn later what the reason was. The next moment a man comes to the captain who led him to the cabin, where she shows him the same dead girl. She was the sister of the same man we saw at the beginning of the movie, who came to call the doctor to save his sister's life. Then Mora and the doctor try to find out what happened to the baby and how did it die. They don't know about anything and the captain forbids everyone that no one will tell anyone about the death of this girl. Later they see that their ship has been stopped. When the captain went to check, there was fog and a lot of smoke everywhere. The road could not be seen and their compass also stopped working. The captain tells everyone that we can't go forward until we see the road ahead, and the captain takes Mora with him. And he shows her the ribbon he found from the Prometheus ship and it belongs to my daughter. My daughter and wife died due to burning in the fire. Mora tells him you're crazy, that's why you talk like that, nothing is like that, and the captain shows her the way. And he says he has never seen such a road. Although I know every corner of the ship, something is wrong with Prometheus. You must come with me again and we must find out how the child is alive on the ship. There the family of the dead child was quite worried and found her everywhere. The captain was once again ready to go aboard the Prometheus. Everyone told him not to go there. It might be dangerous, but he doesn't listen to anyone. And he leaves on that ship after he takes Mora. On the ship, a guard tells the girl's family that she has died. Her sister brings her dead body to her area. When her brother sees his younger sister's dead body, he becomes enraged. He smashes the ship's windows in anger. The guard goes outside and sees that many people have died there. The captain was also finding things with Mora on the Prometheus. He sees the same secret door on that earth as he saw in his room. When Mora goes to check, she finds nothing. A small child was under the bed when he took that pyramid. Daniel comes there and asks, did you find it? The child nodded at that. It means that Daniel and the boy already knew each other, but the relationship they have will not be revealed to us in the story yet. The captain and Mora check the burner. They thought that the people here might have died by burning. During this time, the captain finds the list of passengers. He hides it from Mora and keeps it to himself. The guard goes to everyone on the ship and tells them that our people are dying. We have to do something and divide the weapons between them. He says we have to sail this ship and the captain comes to the captain. And he tells him that everyone is rioting and we have to sail this ship immediately. Before the captain could do anything, some people come there and imprison him. Suddenly their ship disappeared and they came somewhere else. The guard brought with him a man who had come on board without a ticket and asks him to throw all the dead bodies into the water. He later comes to the control room and says that the Prometheus ship has disappeared. They tell him that not Prometheus but their own ship has disappeared. We don't know where we came from. The man tells him that we have come to the same place again, since we started 3 months ago, and then the poor people who had guns. They are attacking rich people and asking what is going on, why are our people dying? A man comes in and says they got a message from the company asking us to sink the Prometheus, but since this kid came on our ship, they all die and the mother of the girl who died says, this boy is cursed and must die. All the passengers are ready to kill the boy. The man who threw the dead bodies into the water tries to escape. The guards shoot at him and a bullet hits him in the arm. On the other hand, the captain was also released. All passengers who wanted to kill the child go to Mora, and he asks her to tell us where the child is and give it to us. When they look for him in Mora's room, he is nowhere to be found. They go to lock Mora in that room. He hears a voice under the bed and finds the same secret door there, as she saw in the captain's room. When she opened it, there was a child hidden there. We see Daniel, who was there when the ship sailed, trying to solve the formula by hooking up the device. We see that all the passengers were looking for the child, checking each of the rooms, and the captain came from the window after he was released. Mora, who was locked with the boy, tries to open the lock, but it won't open. Later, the boy sends an insect that opened the door. They both went out and came to the captain. Meanwhile, the guard and the other passengers came and said they needed this child. Nothing else, and when the captain stops them, the guard shoots him. They take the child with them and take the child to the roof. The mother of the girl who died says this boy is a curse. This is all because of him. I lost my daughter. He collects our souls and do not pity him for his innocent face. Throw him into the water and later the captain and some people will come. They start beating everyone, and to save the child, they all start fighting. During this time, the daughter's mother throws the boy into the water. Mora panics when she sees this. It starts raining and they killed the kid. When they come down, the captain asks Mora, "What is the truth? Tell me something. I found the passenger list from the Prometheus. This includes your name. Who are you?" From there comes the light and the boy who was thrown into the water. It comes from the ship Prometheus. This time she hugs Mora. All the passengers were shocked to see him. No one understands what happened there. First they want to know about the boy, but now they want to know about the Moor. Who was she and how did her name appear on the Prometheus passenger list? We see Mora's past life where she wore mental hospital gowns. She was captured and said to the man, "I know. What did you do with the ship Prometheus and its passengers?" That was the scene we saw at the beginning of the movie. Several people captured her and made her sit on a chair. They injected her in the neck and she passed out. When he regains his senses, he finds himself on a ship, where all the passengers locked the boy in that closet. When Mora goes to save the child, the passengers shoot at her. Daniel comes to save her and everything was stopped there. Mora brought the child out now. When Mora asks what happened, he doesn't tell her and takes her with him. But after that everything was fine. The captain holds Daniel and asks what is going on. "I saw you talking to Mora. Are you involved?" And the girl is asking him to calm down. Whose sister died, but time stopped there. They hear the clock ticking loudly and everyone was mesmerized. After a while, all the passengers start jumping into the water. Seeing all this, Mora asks the boy again, "What's going on?" The child writes "keep calm" on a piece of paper and gives it to her. Someone hears us. Baby comes to Mora and whispers, "I can tell what's going on. If you want to know, you have to meet the creator." Who this creator was, we will learn later. Many passengers died there by jumping into the sea. Now the kid leaves the insect and chases after it and Mora goes after it too. She reaches the place where the people from the asylum caught her. When Daniel comes to Mora's room, he sees the same secret passage. Out of his way, Mora goes after the child. After opening with the controller, it also goes inside. When Daniel meets the boy, he tells him that they are following us. "I'm sure we'll find the truth soon." Daniel tells the boy to stay there. "If you come on the ship, they'll kill you when they find you." On the ship, all the passengers tied them up because they jumped ship after being hypnotized. Daniel goes to the ship's control room and fixes it. Meanwhile, a man attacks him. After pressing the remote that Daniel has, he knocks the man unconscious. Mora was in the institution and goes to the room, whose number was 1011. She was there on the ship in the same room. Everything seemed connected. Later he sees an old man and asks him, "Where is my brother?" But a couple of people hold her and inject her. Later, Mora wakes up in a ship and is held there by the captain. He asks her, "Who are you and what is going on with us on the ship?" Mora tells the captain that she is the daughter of the ship's owner. Her father made these ships for experiments. 4 months ago I received a letter from my brother, who wants to meet me but we can't meet. He must tell me about the secret of the ship Prometheus. Whatever we see here is an imaginary world. You can call it a fake world. We are stuck in a world from which there is no way out. Later they see the insect, hold it and follow it. They reach the forest, their imaginary world. There the captain sees his house and wonders how he got here. We see the ship's officer on the ship. It has the same controller as Daniel. After a while, the captain and Mora come to the ship. They were both quite concerned and Mora tells the captain, "I was a doctor in a mental hospital but my memory was removed. I don't even remember being on the Prometheus ship." He shows her the letter and tells her, "I was the captain of the ship Prometheus." He also didn't know how he was captain of the ship. Daniel fixed everything on the ship using the remote control. All passengers have now stopped jumping off the ship. All the rescued passengers come to the roof where the ship's officer has come. He says, "We've been instructed to sink this ship." Daniel comes in and tells everyone, not the Prometheus ship, but this one. The people of the company want to destroy this ship. We see the same old man that Mora also saw. A man comes up to him and tells him that they got a message from the ship. He says, "I know it will soon be destroyed, sunk." The man asks to bring the child that was on the boat. Later, he closes the curtain of his room. We see a pyramid in the distance and everything was changing on the ship. There, black rubber-like things emerged from the roof. The captain and Mora make it to the asylum again. Mora tells the captain that my dad built this asylum in memory of my mother, because she was slowly forgetting things. My dad wanted mom to heal and he wanted to read her mind. After walking forward, they open a window and see the corner of the ship. They were all tracking their past lives on the ship. The ship's officer locks himself in the same closet where the child was locked. A sharp light emanated from it. At the asylum, Mora tells the captain that the child told her that someone was watching over us, and if we want to know the truth, then we have to reach out to the creator. On the ship, the dead girl's sister could also see her past life. He's getting scared to see it. The ship takes off again. When they checked his manual, there was only one written on it. Before the truth about the ship is revealed to them, the coffee begins to affect them. It was like a puzzle. The ship's officer came to the old man, meaning he was with him. The old man says, "You must bring the child to me, because he has a pyramid and all the people on the ship. They will be lost after entering their imaginary world. The ship will be destroyed." When Mora was with the captain in the asylum, she sees black things coming out of the ground. As she tries to touch them, Daniel comes and holds her and says, "You know me? Do you remember anything?" When the captain stops him, he teleports him to another world, where he saw his daughters burning. But Mora does not believe Daniel's words and locks him in the room. After exiting, when he throws the gun with his hands, he feels a wall there. He understands that everything is on the ship. The captain now came to the ship, where he sees many ship-like things there. We learn about the past lives of Mora and Daniel. She was actually Daniel's wife. When Daniel comes out of his imaginary world, he asks for his remote control. Mora doesn't tell him about anything, and when he comes to the ship, he sees that a big storm is brewing. There, the ship's officer, upon arriving in the room, opens the device and tries to find the child and the captain. Mora takes a secret route to Daniel's room and gets to the room where she sees the pictures. It means that Daniel was her husband, and that little boy was her son. Daniel also found his son after he went to another world. His son gives her a ring and says, now she wakes up and Daniel comes to see Mora. He tells her that this boy is our son, and whatever you see, this is just an imaginary world. Later on the ship, sirens start blaring. Now, the old man who has seen time, 21 minutes left. This means that this imaginary world will end in 21 minutes. Daniel brings Mora to the ship and tells her that there are 21 minutes left and then the imaginary world will end. And then it will be terminated. But we can solve it with a code that only you know. Mora doesn't know what the code is. She gives Daniel the key after taking it out of the locket. He says that maybe this key can open the code. After leaving the room, he begins to repair the equipment. He says, Mora, if all goes well, the wheel will restart of this false world, and this has happened to me many times. Therefore, no ship could reach its destination. Because of the storm, everything on the ship was breaking and people were dying because they were stuck in it. Due to the storm, water begins to enter the ship and people were dying while diving into the water. The officer comes to the old man and takes the child. The old man talks to Daniel and Mora. He says, if you want to save your child, then you have to give me this key, which you have, and Daniel agrees with all this was prepared, and the old man has the same pyramid. He opened it and there was a keyhole in it, in which the key could be fixed, and there was only 10 seconds in the timer. The ship was about to disappear and landed in the same place where all the ships disappeared, the ship graveyard. The ship stood with all the ships that had disappeared so far. All the passengers were on the ship wondering what was happening to them, and the captain came on board again. Mora asks, why is this happening to us? No one can know the secret behind it. Mora tells everyone that my dad made this ship for experiments. Whatever you see and feel is a false world, nothing else. It says my memory has been wiped. I only have one key, and if we get out of here, I will definitely try to remember it. On the other side, the old man takes Mora's son to another room. Here it turns out that the old man was none other than Mora's dad. She tells him about the theory. He says that some people still miss their past things while trapped on the ship. Your mom wanted to know about this thing, and when she understood it, her life was ruined. According to the theory, the life you are in, not your real life but a fake and imaginary world. All people are controlled by someone. As we are controlled by God. We are all toys to him, and the world is just a dollhouse to you, which your mom made and has his keys. On the ship, it is shown that all the passengers have gone to their past lives, but returned to the ship after a while. Mora goes to the asylum again with the captain, where the ship's officer comes and asks her for the keys. Later, after pressing a button on the remote control, he passes out the captain and takes Mora with him. Mora meets her father there and he takes the keys from her. The room turns into an asylum. Her father tells her that you created this world and you are its creator. Mora says no, I didn't make it, but she passed out later. How his father puts this key into the pyramid. She couldn't wake up in the real world because Daniel changed his simulation. He changed the wheel of this false world. Later, Mora regains her senses and Daniel was in front of her. She has a ring in her hand and she asks Daniel, I'm in the real world, is everything real? He says no, this is the world we created. Nothing is made up of the pyramid your dad had. He shows her the new pyramid, the code of which was inside Mora's ring. Daniel tells Mora, your brother runs it all, no one else. Your dad is stuck in this world, just like us. Mora, before your brother could find out about all this, you have to wake up in the real world. Mora puts her ring in the pyramid and wakes up in the real world. Along with her, he sees that everyone has a machine on their head. When Mora looks outside, she sees a spaceship. There he gets a message. In this she was informed that it was the Prometheus project. It has the same number of passengers as the ship. He sees the current date written, in which her brother tells her, hi sister, welcome to the real world. Along with this scene, the first season of 1899 ends.